welcome to the Sunny 16 podcast for, what an exciting week this is, because it's our first ever video show, which we're all very excited about. Obviously I'm here, you can see that. Well, actually, if you can't see that, go to YouTube where this might be, unless it's terrible, in which case it won't be. And you'll not only be able to see me, but you'll also be able to see the wonderful Clare!
Hello, evening.
And along with the wonderful Clare is the equally wonderful Rachel.
Hi guys, this is the weirdest experience ever. We're probably in a 70s TV show here, aren't we?
Yeah, and who are we going to put in that fourth corner? It can only be John Whitmore.
I do suddenly feel
waving.
Feel like we're in Gladiators or something. It's like, start your engines or whatever, isn't it?
I mean, this is very much the look for 2020, isn't it? This is the Zoom call look that really is going to epitomise 2020. But so yeah, anybody who's listening to the audio podcast, we're doing the Cheap Shots Challenge show tonight, and we thought, perhaps slightly belatedly, as we're now 500 Cheap Shots episodes in, that doing it video would be a good idea because John's good at doing video stuff. So we thought, sure, let's go with this. So if you are listening to the podcast, then please go to our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. That's the thing. There's one video on there, but it's Sunny 16 podcast. We'll be sharing the links out. John, how long before this goes out?
3 days. Maybe 2 days.
3 days. Okay, so if you want to experience this in all its visual glory, then maybe pause the podcast.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. See our lovely, lovely faces. Then go to our YouTube channel, and it will be up hopefully by Monday. Do you reckon, John?
Yeah, Sunday, Monday.
Sunday, Monday, one of my favourite songs, Sunday, Monday. And that's what it's all about this evening. It's all about music. So, I mean, what a lovely musical crew to have with me. Rachel, obviously, your band, Roja, the music of which has adorned this show for many, many a long year at this point. Clare, remind me again, Clare, what's your, was it a band? Is it a band you'd call it? Or is my independent your music, isn't it, on your own?
No, there's two of us, Mirror Gaze.
Mirror Gaze, that's it. And your music, you're using that on your show on film,
yeah,
aren't you?
on the opening intro and outro. Yeah.
John, what's your musical background?
Do you really want to know? I used to be a choir boy.
I could have guessed. Do you want to give us a few bars of some of your favourite hymns?
No, I've forgotten them all. I've erased them from my memory.
Probably for the best. We will be going through our listener submission to the Cheap Shots Challenge this round. Not too many this time, which actually is perfect for our first step into video, so that works out quite well. And we have also got the host entries, which, how will I describe them this time round? A real show, I think, would be
patchy. I think.
Yeah. But at least we made the effort, didn't we? Rach, you made the effort, didn't you?
I did. Yes, I did.
And Clare,
take
you
a
made
photo.
I made an effort. Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, I made the effort. We all made an effort. John, did you make the effort?
I made all the
I'm looking in the wrong corner. I've got to look down there.
Which side are you on?
Do you know what I've just realised? I've realised that for some reason I'm backwards on this camera. Like everybody else, I can see you in your individual screens the same way round, and mine's been flipped. How strange.
Well, you look fine to me, Rach.
Can you see, John?
Well, what hand is that?
This is my right hand.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but when I'm actually looking at you all in your screens, it's the same way round on the output screen, but on mine it's not. So on mine, the cameras are here to my left. They're here to my left, but it's showing them as being on my right.
That's to your right, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? So for some reason, but yours on Graeme and Clare's, they're the same way round. Isn't that weird?
That is weird. Well, weirdness aside, you can tell listeners, if you are listening to this on the podcast, one, just apologies in general. We're going to be very distracted by this. If you are watching this, apologies in general. We're an audio mainly medium for a reason. But, listen, we're venturing out this evening. It's very exciting. Because it's nice to be able to do stuff where when we're talking about the pictures, we can actually look at them as a group together. So that would be nice. We'll talk about our stuff a bit later, but shall we start looking at the listener pictures? So I said we only had, I think, 5 people entered this time, so we've got 10 pictures in total, I think. And we talked about them in past over the backing paper episodes, but that was quite a long time ago. And as there's only 10 pictures, we thought we'd talk about them all as we're going through. So because it won't take long anyway, will it? So, number one, please, from Aaron Alfano. Now, I can't remember who was on the show when we talked about these, so I'll just get your hot takes on these as you've seen this. So, Rach?
Yeah, beautiful. I love this shot. It's basically a spotlight on a open book of manuscript, like sheet music, basically. I think it's on a piano. It looks to me like it's on a piano. It's the rest of the image is pretty much in complete blackness, darkness. And then there's just the like single spotlight lighting up the music itself. So yeah, it's really beautiful. It feels very much like you're on stage, you know, and about to have the curtain go up and there be an audience sort of thing. But yeah, there's something very dramatic about this. It's quite Phantom of the Opera-esque, I suppose. Yeah.
What do you think, Claire?
I think I would say very similar to Rachel. I think it's quite atmospheric, and like Rachel says, I think the use of the lighting, because Aaron has isolated a spot in, so we're really drawn into that sheet music. So yeah, I think it's quite moody, quite atmospheric, and like Rachel says, quite dramatic. So yeah, a lot of intrigue.
John?
I wonder what it is. I'm wondering what
I was just thinking. Can't see.
I can't see that close, but yeah.
I really like, I agree. I think the way it just disappears into the background, it's like it's on stage. There could be an audience there, for all you know. And I like the way the light's just catching the keys at the front as well, so you know it's on a piano stand. And that's really well done.
Yeah, it's a really bold. I'm intrigued as to how Aaron managed to meter it so well, because the sheet music is perfectly lit, and then it just drops away to absolute nothing. And it's really, because that's a really bold image, and most of the frame is pretty much completely black, apart from, as you said, that hint of the keys at the bottom. It's super effective.
Do you know what camera Aaron shot this on? What's his cheap shots camera?
That is a good question. I'm really glad you are.
I can tell.
I can find it.
You're so pleased I'm here, aren't you, to ask that?
It was. I have all this information at my fingertips. It was shot with a Pentax Spotmatic and a 50mm Super Takumar lens, using Ilford HP5 at 400. So yeah, a great job, really great job with that. And you know, it's not a super. The Pentax Spotmatic has a light meter in it, but it's not a super fancy multi whatever meter.
And at 400, this is shot at box speed.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I just assumed that it had been shot at, you know, higher ISO, really, you know.
Yeah.
Given the lighting, but yeah.
Well, I suppose if you get a really good strong light on that paper, and then the fact that everything else can just go, then
it's really worked out ever so well, that.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Really nicely executed, that. Yeah.
Yeah. What's next, John?
Ooh.
Okay, so the second one.
Is this also from Aaron as well?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh yes, I can see now.
I assume this is the same piano.
Yeah.
No, he's got multiple pianos, I think.
He's got all the pianos.
You know, some people like to collect guitars. Aaron likes to collect pianos. He needs quite a big house for this, but.
Oh, this is lovely, isn't it? This is a really classic shot down the keyboard of the piano, and with a lovely shallow depth of field. You know, it's really picking out a very specific part of the keyboard, and then dropping off softly, you know, at either side of that, in the background and in the foreground. So you kind of got the mid-ground there, and I like that this has been shot in a portrait orientation. So you've got obviously the one that previously that was landscape, and then sort of like the wide shot, if you like. It's kind of a little mini story in itself. It's kind of like then we've zoomed in slightly and getting a detail shot. So yeah, really nice.
Claire, out of the two of them, which do you prefer? You know, what are your thoughts on this one versus the other one?
Like Rachel says, I like the depth of field in this image. Both good. I think that's my favourite one.
The first
one
one
with the spot isolated onto the sheet music. For kind of the simplicity, but the intrigue and the effectiveness of that shot. I think
it's got more impact, hasn't it?
Yeah, impact. That's the word.
that second one, it's. I really admire the lighting in these. You know, you shot using a fully manual SLR, and especially when you're shooting a reflective white object, which the keys on the piano are, and it's been done. It hasn't blown it out, and the gradient's very subtle. It's been very well done. What are your thoughts on these? The second one, John, in particular.
I agree. I much prefer the first one, just because the composition feels slightly off on it and a bit awkward actually, but I like that. It kind of you're drawn into the corner, whereas the second one, it's a very kind of classic shot, running down the keys with the spotlight on. But yeah, I think they work really well together as a pair. Like Rachel's saying, like just kind of the story of them as well. But individually, I think the first one's my favourite out of two.
Yeah. Okay, who's up next? Yes,
it's a Korg.
It's a Korg from Anthony Rue. Go on then, Rach. It's a Korg. Tell us about this picture. Tell us your thoughts on this, because this is the first time you've seen any of these, isn't it, Rach? I think.
No, I actually I saw the two from Aaron. I think that was you and I. Possibly somebody else was with us when we saw those before. But I haven't seen this one. No. So this is from Anthony Rue.
Anthony Rue.
This just makes me think of like instantly I saw this and was like, I'm back on stage, like with the band and stuff, like with Rocha and things, you know, or in rehearsal rooms and in the studio and that kind of stuff. So the image, sorry, because I realise I'm looking at it. You'll have to excuse us, viewers, viewers. Oh my god,
long sufferers.
Yes, indeed. Just because this is a whole new medium for us, but it's basically I think a 35mm image, portrait orientation of somebody plugging in some cables into the electronic keyboard at Korg. And it just looks like you're in the studio making, you know, jamming some tracks or laying down some tracks or whatever. So yeah, I really like this. It's got a lot of movement in it, which is really nice and feels quite different. Even though this is also a keyboard, you know, and effectively a piano, you know, they're two very, very different shots, but also black and white. Yeah.
Just so you know, because it's not something you would ever guess. This is actually, and I find this kind of amazing given the quality of the image, just in terms of like the sharpness, etc. This is a 16mm shot, not even 35mm. This was shot on the Kiev 30, which is a Russian ripoff of a Minolta.
I thought John had just cropped it. Sorry, I was blaming John. Okay, I was blaming John for having like cropped the shape of the ratio on the image.
Editing somebody else's pictures.
No, it's 16mm. So I'm really impressed though.
This is amazing.
By the definition, the sharpness, Claire, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, two things. First of all, I love Korgs. I love Korg keyboards. But what intrigues me in this shot is I'm drawn to the tattoo.
Seen the tattoo.
The writing on the wrist.
I actually hadn't seen
what I once was.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So my eyes were straight into that, and then I'm thinking, what's the significance of that?
It ties in perfectly with the fact that these are patch cables going into an old ass Korg keyboard synthesizer. You know, it is perfect. And I like the composition as well. Again, because I like how close it is. And as you said, Rach, there's a real energy to it as well. Whereas the last picture of the piano was a very serene image. This is the wires are more of a chaotic jumble. That fact that you've got that arm just reaching right in there again just gives quite a lot of energy to it. Yeah, it's a very different feel to it. What's your take on it, John?
Yeah, I like the thing with the arm. Like, it could actually be like a posed photo, couldn't it? Like, to make sure the arm's facing the correct way towards the camera. But actually, it feels like it's a very kind of like documentary shot, and it's very naturally done. And I think that's fantastic, because when you stage things like that, it can look a bit cheesy and a bit fake, but this doesn't at all.
Yeah, I think this would be really nice for, I don't know, like I Love Corgs or something magazine cover.
Yeah.
I love that magazine. I Love Corgs.
Man. I've got to renew my subscription to that. I forgot.
Exactly. Yeah, so we've got a cover image for that then, definitely.
Yeah, and very musical as well. I mean, just nailing the theme so far.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next, John? Again, another much more serene image. This time we're kind of going from one to the other. This one by Bob Matter. This is such a 2020 picture. So you've got this music room place where there's usually a lot of activity going on, and it's just empty. And you've got the instruments at the back, and then there's just single chair in the foreground, lovely windows in the background, and the light onto the hardwood floor. It's a really elegant picture. Yeah, really nicely done. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Wasn't there some story behind this?
Sorry, John.
Me.
Wasn't there a story behind this that it's in?
There is a story, I think, and there's a story to one of his other photographs, but
I seem to remember it's a musical college that closed down because of COVID. Is that right?
Would you like to know the story? Because I have all this information locked in my head.
Yes, that just sounds familiar, John. Yes.
Also, I have the email right in front of me.
Hey.
This is Curtis Hall on the 10th floor of the Fine Arts Building, also known as the Studebaker Building, or whatever. Was it Studebaker? What did he call this one? Anyway, in Chicago on an early Saturday afternoon. The building was constructed in 1895 and was originally a horse-drawn carriage manufacturing, sales and service facility for the Studebaker Company. Curtis Hall is home to the CYSO, the Chicago Youth Symphony Orchestras, and would normally be teaming with children between the ages of 6 and 18, practicing and performing orchestral, chamber and jazz music on the Saturday afternoon. But yeah, pandemic. So
yeah, it totally takes me back, this. And even without hearing the story, I was like, this feels so like summer camp type thing, but for at music school or music college, or going to Saturday Strings was my original kind of like so my little local orchestra when I was very small was called Saturday Strings, and that would be at the local kind of like music college, and then like obviously growing up and then going through various different orchestras and things, and then going to like Warwickshire County Youth Orchestra and stuff, and you'd end up in big rooms like this where you'd all kind of like descend on this room, on this beautiful kind of like parquet floor and things that as a kid you didn't care about at all, and now like, oh, this beautiful floor, and you'd all have like your own chair, and you'd like drag it across, and you'd set up with your music stand, and then you play, scrape away on the violin for a little bit, and then pack it all down, and everybody disappear off, and there's always like one chair like this just sort of like left as you switch on off the lights and leaving the room. It just takes me straight back to that kind of atmosphere. It's lovely. And like you said, Graeme, it's just so 2020, this, isn't it? Like summed up in an image, I think. Yeah, really cool.
I think spaces like this, even if you don't know the story about them, spaces like this, to see them like this always feels slightly surreal. It's like going into a school, any school, doesn't matter what it's you about going. I mean, not that this really happens. If you're going into a school, there's nothing to do with you what's going on, but going into somewhere like a school when it's closed, it just feels weird, because normally the only time you interact with spaces like this is when there's lots of people there. Otherwise, there's, unless you're a bloody caretaker, why are you there? So even though you might not know what this place is, you connect with it straight away. I mean, what do you think about this one, Claire?
Well, I had exactly like Rachel, both fond memories. And first of all, it took me back to my first time I ever had ballet lessons. I was 6. In a primary school close to where we lived, Llangolch Primary School. But I was traumatized because the teacher told me I was like an elephant.
Great.
And
Lovely and
I used to go with my
supportive.
older sister, and I was really, I remember being really shattered my sort of dreams of being a ballerina. But when I was 14, I had dance classes again on a bit similar to you, Rachel, on a Saturday morning, and it was a completely different experience, and I really loved it. And so we did bits of ballet and then bits of dance, and I remember it just reminds me of we all used to do, the teacher used to do different songs, like we had David Bowie, Let's Dance, and everybody there's like on Anglesey, there's a school of dance that every girl who's ever, I think, come from Holyhead has all gone through that school at different times. So it reminds me of that. And it also reminds me of I've got to say one of my favorite films, which again is a dance theme. Suspiria and the ballet school there. So it's all those memories associated with and the connections with this image. But I love those curtains. I love the light. I like the light that's coming through.
It's really soft, isn't it? Really beautiful.
And just the chair, isn't it? Just that one chair, and why is that one lone chair there, and what's the sort of story with that chair? So I really like, for all those reasons, I really like this image.
I would love to have like a setup like that for a bride or something, or like let's get the groom in there or something. It would it would look so nice. That would
I agree with you, Rachel. And I was thinking I'd love to sort of play in that room as well.
Yes. Yeah, you can already tell it would sound beautiful.
See, Rachel, we need to get our dancing gear on and get
oh my God, I don't know about the dancing.
Rollerblade round the room.
Oh, there goes the parquet flooring.
Suddenly, I'm interested
anyway,
in this.
can we, Claire? Flipping elephant in rollerblades. What are we doing here? One of the things I'm looking at the original picture a bit bigger, and one of the things I really love about this, which won't show up on the YouTube stream, is the image is really nice and sharp, and there's great depth of field from front to back. The chair is in focus, the windows are in focus, which is really. Bob's using a little Olympus stylus zoom DLX, something like that, and it's really performing well in this low light situation.
A little compact point and shoot.
Yes,
isn't it? Yeah.
Kind of like the one I gave you that instantly died, Rach.
Yeah, I think it's on my shelf somewhere.
What do you think of this one, John?
So these sort of rooms for me is like when you go in them, even when they're empty, you get a feeling from them of the history of almost like everyone that's been through them and the things that have happened in them. It's all like soaked into the wood, isn't it? And the furnishings
like blood.
And everything. Yeah.
It's a ghost is what you're saying.
And I think he's captured that. Even though it's empty, you can feel it's a room that's had things happening in it, like creative musical things happening in it. And it's got that energy, even though it's perfectly still and silent and there's no one there. And I think the composition's fantastic. But I assume he put the chair intentionally there himself. But it's fantastic. It's really well done.
I think the one thing that I think is a little bit of a shame, and given that he's working with a point and shoot zoom camera in a naturally lit room, it gets so dark off to the right hand side that you can't really make it anything. I wish you could pick out a bit more detail there, but it's
that's really. I'd like another shot.
I like it, but it just doesn't quite. I think if there'd been a bit more room around the right hand side of the chair, so that it was maybe a more even framing of the chair, but just because it's really creeping into that corner a bit. And like I still really like the picture, but it's the fact that it's like kind of that lopsided vignette almost. It's but there you go. That's the first thing. All right, what's next, Jono?
Bob Matter, number 2.
Jazz.
Jazz man.
Get the saxophone out. Yeah. And wasn't a story about this? The guy behind the police. Is it a police officer? I think.
Mm.
And every day he came and like stood and listened and watched him, and then would move on and then be back the next day or something. Is that right, Claire?
That was the story. Yeah, wasn't it, Graeme? I think the police officer would come especially to listen.
Yeah. So the saxophonist in the picture is a guy called Derek Tate, who's a Berklee College of Music graduate and music teacher who is apparently often there busking at Wrigley Plaza in Chicago. And yes, apparently Bob has also not only seen Derek there regularly, but seen that police officer there regularly. Must be his regular beat. So apparently he put the picture up on Instagram and must have tagged in Derek on it. And Derek commented on the picture, "Shout outs to that officer behind me. He often comes to watch me play." So that's nice. It's great. Again, great framing of the picture. The police officer's got such a great pose, just leaning against his car, very casually enjoying the music. This
is a great example of like you really don't need an expensive camera to take amazing photos. Like this is a superb street photo, isn't it? And like you just don't need spend loads of money on a camera to get a good shot. It's all about the composition, the story.
Yeah. It helps that it's nice weather as well, I think. Nice and light and bright. But yeah, absolutely. It's being there. He's there in the moment and being able to capture it, which is the most important part of street photography, isn't it? So, really cool.
And I like that Bob's got in nice and close.
Yeah.
So the players in the picture are filling the frame. Which is good.
Characters. I wonder how long that zoom is on that stylus.
I don't know where they.
But whether he was actually
doesn't say which stylus zoom it is,
quite close. He might have just been in quite close anyway.
Bob will get up to. He will engage with people. I mean, I think Bob won. I can't remember which round, but he won one of the rounds not long ago because of his street portraits. I think it was the lady on the bus. I think that was the one that won.
Christmas.
Yeah.
That was Christmas. Oh my word! Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hadn't realised. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Because it's one that's like taking pictures of street performers can be a low-hanging fruit street photography kind of thing because they're there and they're quite a bit. But what makes this picture a great picture is the police officer in the background, the angle. If you took the police officer in the car away, the picture's gone. You've just got a picture of a street performer. But
that's really cool.
Next
is Ian Wallace.
Oh, how pretty is that? That's beautiful.
Gramophone.
Oh, you see, I'm a real sucker for anything old.
Me
I was gonna say anything old and interesting. I don't know if that sounds any better. But yeah,
I'm the same, Rachel.
Good. I'm glad. I mean, I guess there's a reason that we do this podcast, right? Isn't there? It's lovely, like that cabinet that the record player's in, and it's one of those things that I'd look at that and be like, oh, I bet that sounds amazing, and then in reality it probably doesn't. It probably sounds pretty yucky, but it looks beautiful, so lovely. And interesting weighting in terms of the framing on this, where it's kind of just going out of frame but in kind of not the way you'd expect. So it's being given the opposite of talking room, shall we say. It's kind of like it's heading out of the frame.
I think part of that might be down to the instrument used to capture it. So Ian was using an Ilford Sporty, which is a viewfinder camera, an old viewfinder camera. So you've got parallax error going on there. And because this picture's pretty close, so I'd say that is probably as close as you're going to be able to get to something with that camera and still have it in focus. So you're going to have the maximum amount. So it's probably been exacerbated by that. But I think it's worked really well. I mean, it may well be it was a completely intentional choice to put it there also, but it's worked well. It's quite hard with something like that. So it's a gramophone player. It's a square box with a record deck or a gramophone deck on the top. And against the plain white wall. Like, how do you frame something like that? You want to be close enough to get the detail, but it's a very angular, very, there's kind of, it's a difficult one to frame up, isn't it, really?
I mean, do it like this, because
Yeah.
it gives it that drama, it gives it perspective, it gives it some, kind of something, rather than just sort of sitting and shooting it straight on. It's focused again on like the detail, the little details that kind of tell a bit more of a story about the object. I think I really like the framing. It's like, that's for me is what makes you go, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Has the camera got a flash on it? How's that?
No.
It does look lit, doesn't it? It might have been an LED panel or something, maybe. Or...
I don't think so, but so there's two pictures of this, two very similar pictures.
Yeah.
This one is clearly taken at a slow shutter speed because you can see there's the movement on the stylus there. So I think it is just using the available light.
It must have been taken on a tripod though, because look at the front of it is incredibly sharp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Steady hands Ian. That's what his friends call him. Ian is. Oof. I think he was a sniper for MI5 before he took over.
Rock solid.
I'll check and see if Ian mentions whether he used it on the tripod or not.
It must have been because, like you say, the movement on the arm of the record player, you wouldn't get that and the sharpness everywhere else in the image.
Well, I mean, Ian doesn't mention
unless
and I'd
the
like to
record's
believe
like moving really quickly.
I believe that Ian just handheld it. Maybe there was something there for him to rest it on. And again, this could be one of those things that affects the framing. There could have been a plinth or something nearby that he could have used as an impromptu tripod. I don't think he took out. I mean, again, I don't know. Hang on. Let me see. Right. This is the breaking up video. Hang on, everyone. Bear with, callers. So, right, hang on. So this isn't exactly
full screen, aren't they? There we go.
No. So this is the kind of camera we're talking about here. It's not exactly this model because, but this is an Ilford Sportsman. Everyone's got an Ilford, but you can't got. Whoop, hang on, that way. Bloody hell, black. Also the screen blur. Like stop.
That's what I was
the auto. So it's pretty basic. I don't think you're going to take this out with a tripod. I think that's unlikely. I think if you're going to go out and shoot this,
yeah,
you're not.
But you don't know whether he's gone out. That might be in his house. I was actually assuming it was in his house. Yeah.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is because there's another. There's another picture which shows.
I have hanging around my house.
Yeah. So here's the second picture.
Ah.
So slightly different framing, and you can see it's a faster shutter speed going on here.
Yeah. That's so they look so different, those two shots, don't they? They really do.
I think there's a light, either a flat, not a flash then, but a light where the camera is for that one, and then this one is lit from a window to the left of the.
I wondered whether the other one was a phone light, just a little light off of the phone held to take the shot. Interesting. Anyway, we'd have to find out from Ian. But yeah, that's very cool. I really like the fact that they are obviously of the same, same object, taken on the same camera at the same time, but they look very different, the two. Just in terms of, and it shows the power of lighting, doesn't it? And how that can change the drama of the piece, or the focus area.
I'd love that as a prop.
Which is your favourite of those two? Which do you prefer, given how different they both are?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, the first one. Sorry, the one that's got, I think, some light from somewhere, and where you can see the needle moving. At least, definitely. Yeah, that one would be my favourite.
Yeah. Nice. So, I'm just looking to see quickly if there was any more information on where Ian took them there. It's a Sonora gramophone from 1920. I can tell you that much. I mean, maybe it is in Ian's house. I don't know, but
I think
it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Claire and I have a feeling.
Okay. Actually, I'll mention this now. This has worked out perfectly for reminding me. Ian has sent us a little couple of minutes of audio talking about his pictures. So we will put that at the end of this podcast / video for you to go and listen to. So
to solve the mystery.
Maybe it'll solve the mystery.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it if it does solve a mystery. Yeah, actually, also, seeing as well, I've got everything at hand here.
Where's he going now?
I'm just going up here, don't worry.
Okay.
Just because it's just because the thing that we got sent recently, and I did mention it on the podcast, but I just wanted to show quickly.
That's right. Yay!
Look, you got a copy too. Hang on, I've got down this auto blur.
This one's different.
Well, anyway, there we go. On a hill road. That's it.
Oh no, not that. Sorry, I thought we were talking about something else.
But that's Ian's book on stereo pictures. It's really lovely, really lovely.
Oh, fantastic!
So Ian likes old stuff, so maybe it is his. Very cool. Okay, what's the next one? We're on a gramophone theme.
Ian's.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so this is the third shot from Ian. Fantastic.
Yeah, gramophone records.
Oh, okay. So this is a cabinet of gramophone records,
isn't it? In the wow.
It's a massive record holder, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many do you reckon?
Wouldn't you just love to have one of those in your house, Rachel?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. Of course.
No.
Graham's just shaking his head. What's wrong with you, man?
Put a Spotify sticker on it.
But you like records, Graeme? Vinyl?
No, I do. I do like records, and I do like vinyl. But I just look at that and go, "Oh, that's a lot of stuff, isn't it?" And I bet I bet none of them are Kate Bush, so they can just do one.
You don't know that.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna put a bit on that. I bet I do. No, it's really cool. I know Ian's putting this thing. He what captures his attention, why he took this picture, because he really loves the way that the light's catching the individual records going down, the gramophones going down, which is cool. I like that. I think I prefer the gramophone pictures as opposed to the records. I like that. It's an interesting picture, but I think aesthetically I prefer the other pictures. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, the
very
first
musical
one for me. But yeah, absolutely fulfills the brief.
Yes. Okay, what's next?
Billy Sanford.
Ooh.
Billy Sanford.
Billy.
Yes.
Oh, this is so cool. So this is like a composite almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like 6 or 8 different photos that he's taken of different parts of guitar, sitting on a bench, I think, or outside with some wood behind it. And then he's laid the prints that he's taken of each of those parts literally on the floor, and then taken an image of that, which I love. This is so cool and so inventive. It's like, I love these kinds of puzzles or jigsaw puzzle type things. So yeah, really nice. Love that, Billy.
What I particularly love about this, what I think is one of the smartest things about this picture for a Cheap Shots Challenge picture, is that what Billy has done here very cleverly is Billy has blitzed through a good third of a roll of film to create one picture, because that's the worst thing about Cheap Shots, because we're using cameras which, let's be honest, most of us are not thrilled about using. I've got mine here. I don't love it. It only gets used for cheap shots. And so Billy's like, oh God, I need to get some pictures, but I haven't got much time to get out there. I'm just going to take 8 pictures of this one thing and make that into one image. It's really smart. He does
this is
say
what Graham's going to do forevermore now, isn't it? This is now your new approach. Yeah,
I know he did, and you can't really see it in the picture. I mean, also, I love in that picture just the way that the prints themselves have been framed on this wooden floor. I think the whole thing works super well. But he does say, you know, the focus is off. He said the bench is in focus, the guitar isn't. But you know, whatever. You know, who's what is it? Vivitar Series 1 data back. I think that is a little point and shoot. Let me just have a quick look-see. It's a little
really
point and shoot.
How the wood has come out, like the detail and the shadow and the depth on the bench. I think it's really lovely,
a lovely bench.
Yeah, it is a lovely bench. It's kind of the guitar's the supporting act. The bench is the star of the show.
And again, the camera is just a cheap plastic Vivitar point and shoot camera, autofocus fixed lens.
So
thing,
has he held the camera quite close to the guitar and just moved it around and moved down?
Just sort of taken shots like this. Yeah.
And to be honest, I suspect that's why it's the bench that's in focus and not the guitar, because it's that thing of, especially with cheaper point and shoots, you just can't get that close to it.
Yeah,
it's going to go nope out. So and because
this is sort of technique you quite often see with like Polaroid, actually instant, isn't it, Claire? Where people take
collage.
sort of collage in terms of like a set part of the image, then the next one, and then the next one, and kind of like build up a larger piece from that. So it's interesting to see it done using a 35mm camera.
Definitely.
And
I think it's really very creative what he's done, actually.
Are they
look really nice? I don't know, maybe they are. I'm not sure.
They what? Sorry,
darkroom prints.
I don't think so. No, I think these just got run off at the local lab. I'll see if, but no, I don't think. I know Billy is doing darkroom stuff now.
Yes,
but I don't think this is. I don't think these were. I think they were just
in fact, I can show some of Billy's darkroom work.
Oh, look at this!
Here we go.
Yeah.
For the
listeners,
we tried this with a split grade, which is really nice. So he said that he'd seen the Ilford video that I'd done on split grade filters, and he'd tried that out on that first shot. So it was awesome to see it kind of like. I was like, if that's your first shot using a technique like that, then can't wait to see what else he does. Really, really cool.
Okay, next up, John.
Billy Sanford's second submission.
It's quite different, this one.
Proper. This looks like your man shed, Graeme. Doesn't it though? It does, doesn't it?
I mean, yes, it does.
Right? Yeah,
a clutter of stuff.
Yeah, a clutter of stuff. I think that's the collective term, isn't it? A clutter of stuff.
The nice thing about this image is that it's when you can look at this and go, that's just a clutter of stuff. But it's one of those images, the more you look at it, there's little Easter eggy things in there to find.
Lovely.
I love the tape. I love the tape. I want to know what's on his tape.
Now,
I think you can tell because it's on the you always write onto the piece of paper, the insert. I can't actually read it now. But
now hang on, Billy did send me the list of. Hang on, so I go. So here is what is on the Sunny 16 podcast Greatest Hits Volume 1. So we have The Evil Stands High by Roja. You have No Such Thing as a Free Grandma, the classic. Fuji Epson Mac dance mix, which that is a real that is a real blast from the past. Great tune. I used to do a lot more singing on the podcast than I do now, which I think is a real lot. We got Shooting Hairy Biker Fish in a Barrel, Ain't No Party Like a T-Max Party, Knowledge is Knowing That a Pepper is Not a Camera, Dice Baby, Hamish, what camera should I buy? And the classic, I think very much the single, New Film, Who Dis? There are so many great tracks.
So many. All the greats. And there's even a magazine behind from Jim Crocker, is it? Or Jim?
Yes.
Photographs and Memories. He's great.
For such a chaotic, jumbled image at first glance, there's a lot of thought gone into it, and that's the rewarding thing for this picture. And again, I think it's probably one of those things that is far more rewarding to us directly than it is to somebody who might not be familiar with this, because aesthetically, it's compositionally, it is a collection of stuff, but it's still a real fun picture.
And drumsticks.
Yeah.
And drumsticks, yes.
Is that for boom boom for the jokes?
Yeah.
Oh no, it might be from when Graeme does his drum roll. Drum roll, please.
Okay. What have we got next?
I think that's it, isn't it?
Is that from?
That's it.
That the one from Billy? We were going to mention.
Let's see. Hang on. Yeah, that is it. As I said, not too many pictures this time. But I think the quality, as always, is fantastic. Really lovely selection of pictures. So as anybody listening or indeed watching will have noticed, we don't have a judge this time round because honestly, we just didn't want to drag somebody else into our first time.
We're not that cruel.
No, and it turns out it was probably just as well we didn't, because it's been a bit chaotic here. But I think it's going real well, right, guys? Assuming any of this is being recorded, it's all going real well, right, John?
Really good.
Yes, still recording.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Apart from the fact that John sounds slightly like a drunken robot, but listen, you can't have everything. So anyway, as we're recording this, I haven't yet shared, and I might do that imminently. I haven't yet shared the recording that we made of John, Clare, and I judging the Holger Week entries. Now, that was an experience, wasn't it, guys?
I wasn't there for this, so I don't know what happened.
You dodged a bullet, right?
Did I? Okay, so does somebody want to explain to me what went on?
John?
It started well, didn't it?
I feel like I need to maybe step in and separate the twins or something here. I don't know.
Yeah, we were like really torn over. We had such different ideas, and we couldn't make our mind up, could we, on the last bit?
Graeme bullied us into the choice that he'd made, basically. That's what
I mean, classic, really, isn't it? That's just standard. He just keeps on going until you finally go, oh, do you know what? Just whatever.
Spoilers. It was. I mean, we got through and we whittled down quite well, and it was when it got down to the final three, picking a winner, that got difficult. And basically, John and I, both being stubborn people, entrenched, and we're like, nope. And poor Claire's just going, could we maybe come back to this in the morning and have a think about it? And we're like, no, we're doing this now.
Gosh.
This is after
Claire,
about
I'm so
3
sorry
hours.
I wasn't there.
It was like, was it midnight? Well, how late was it? It was really quite late.
Well, I got an angry message at about midnight, I think,
Yeah.
that I didn't see until later on, or maybe the next
We're relying
morning.
on you to break the deadlock. Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? Is this still going? What's happening? Do I? Yeah.
I did put forward, Rachel, that we sleep on it, and that you should be the final call.
I think it had already been decided. Thank goodness by then. But
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll if you want to hear how all that went, and because it doesn't sound like a real good time to everybody, who doesn't want to hear? It's definitely not probably going to be suitable for listening with all ages, because there was probably a little bit of cursing going on in there. It was kind of recorded as a chat rather than us trying to make a podcast out of it. So just go into that with that noise. But that'll go out on the Sunny 16 Presents feed if you fancy hearing that. But we didn't want a repeat of that, so we come up with a system for this time. It's a great system. So what we're going to do is that all four of us have got 3 sets of points to
award.
Put onto to award. Thank you, Rach. A 1 point, a 2
Eurovision
point,
style, remember,
and a 3 point. Yeah. So we're each just going to quickly look at those pictures now.
Okay.
And decide essentially in our minds who's got first, second, and third personally, and then we'll just look at which picture has the highest number, and that was the winner. Sounds easy, doesn't it? There can be no argument there, can there?
I mean, they never argue about Eurovision, so I don't see why this would be any different.
I'm just waiting to see if John makes some political choices because of his feelings. So I was going to quickly. It's difficult because we've got a really diverse set of pictures, as always happens. A really diverse set of pictures. We'll go off now and vote, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Stay tuned, everyone.
Jellyfish.
We're back. Woo! After only a really short break and no actual fist fights happening this time, which was nice. Definitely a more civilized way of doing it. And we have a winner as well, which is exciting. Sorry, hang on.
That's me just going troublemaker up in that corner.
I see.
So we're going to do this in sort of reverse order.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay. So we've got a couple of. everybody who entered got a point this time, at least 1 point, which is nice because the honourable mentions, I guess, go to Billy Sanford for his guitar collage, and what was the other honourable mention? And Ian Wallace for the lovely picture of the gramophone record. So those are 2 honourable mentions. Then in 3rd place, we have Anthony Rue's picture. What I Once Was. I think that was the title. Well, it might just be the name of the. Very cool. In 2nd place, we have Aaron Alfano. A beautiful picture, which means, hang on, drum roll.
For the music challenge.
For the music challenge.
Bong.
In 1st place, it is. Yeah, hit the gong, John.
Symbols.
In 1st place,
Yay!
Bob Matter in his empty room picture. I can't. What was it? It actually had a title. I feel like it actually did have a title. I had to keep calling it the empty room.
I mean, the empty room works.
Yeah, the dance
Yeah, the empty room.
the dance hall.
The dance hall, the dirty dance hall. Bob Matter's dirty dance hall. It's a lovely picture, and the thing is, I love particularly the fact that it really connected with you, Rach, and you, Claire. It's lovely to have an image which really does speak to you like that. I mean, and it's a lovely image as well.
Yeah,
great stuff.
Yeah,
all around.
I think, like John said, that you can feel with that image that there's such a lot of history. There's so many stories. There's so much kind of like energy that's kind of gone into that room and that space over the years, is how it feels. So yeah, it was lovely to kind of reflect on our own kind of like history and childhood and things as well, and our various sort of memories and things. The power of photography, right?
The power of photography, indeed. And also, I think this is a significant event because I think Bob is our first 2-time winner. So well done, Bob.
Well done.
I was going to say, I promise you'll get your prize faster than last time. Although obviously the winner of the last round is still waiting on there. So listen, there's a queue. You're in it. You'll get it
by next Christmas.
Yeah, Bob's still waiting for last Christmas, his last Christmas prize.
He got it
in the summer.
It was August.
Oh, gosh.
But he will get it. That's
yeah.
So that's the fun part done. Now is the humiliating bit.
Can we just finish there? Let's just.
I wish, for our own dignity's sake, I wish we could. But sadly, we now need to deal with our own pictures. Now, how did you find the challenge?
So happy about this.
Yeah, how did you find the challenge this time, guys?
Brilliant.
Oh yeah, bro, you got some splaining to do, Whitmore.
I got halfway through mine. So my idea.
You got halfway through yours months ago.
I know.
Okay. What's happened, John?
So what I was going to do was I was going to take a photo with the cheapest camera possible, which is without a camera, and I had a tray with water in it that I rested on top of a speaker, which I was playing a sine wave through of different pitches, different notes, which then creates a standing wave on the surface of the water.
Yeah,
and
very cool.
My intention was to put a bit of dark photographic paper under it, fire the flash so it would capture that wave on the paper.
Wow, this sounds so cool.
It sounds cool, doesn't it? Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get an exposure, and I ran out. That's when my time ran out that day, and I've never been able to return to it, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that was what, a month and a half ago?
Yeah, it was a month and a half ago.
I mean,
an hour in the last month and a half. I am calling bullshit.
No, I get it though. Like when you get to that point and you think, right, this is my idea. I've got everything set. I'm ready to go. And you try and you've tried a few times and you've used up that allocation of time and energy and headspace to get that done. And then when you move away from that space and go and do something else, sometimes it's just not possible to kind of go back to it. It just didn't work. And
I needed to use the tray to put chemicals in after that, so it was a case of like, I can't clear it out, put water in it. Whatever.
I mean, that part of it, I know that you've got more than one tray, John. So you've just dug yourself a hole there. But
it's getting also, like you say though, it's like there's a certain amount of, for a lot of photography things, setup time, isn't there? and then pack down time.
That's where
and I just haven't had that time to allocate to it again.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes, isn't it? Unfortunately.
But I do love the idea, and
Thanks.
do you think it is something you should that you could revisit?
Oh yeah, I'm going to. It's just time, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when it's not a straightforward kind of go out, put the film in a camera and shoot it, right? That's definitely going to be, you know, experimentation isn't to order. You know, you can't really do that on the clock sort of thing.
I think also because I didn't get a result that time, I was then aware that I'd probably have to spend a lot more time before I got a result. Yeah. So. Yeah.
You know what they say though: if at first you don't succeed, just give up, walk away. Why try harder, John? Just use that time that you could be trying hard to make up some bullshit excuses. Rach, we all know you've been super busy, but you still managed to make a picture, right?
I made a picture. So yeah, I opened the shutter twice. I actually took two frames. I've got them here actually.
I can bring them up on screen as well. Look at this through the magic. We're going to have to cheekily look at.
Yeah.
Cheekily look at.
Yeah, these are the two at the end. So
let's just bring up.
Let's put these on.
So, I'll go this way. So these are the two at the end that were obviously the shot.
Oh yeah.
So that one is steady, and this one it wobbled off the tripod plate. So when I actually pressed the shutter, it was a 2 second exposure. 2 second exposure, and unfortunately the other one is completely off the tripod plate. So so that's the one that wasn't a huge wobbly mess.
That's your new. Is that your new piano?
It is my new piano. Yeah. So for my 40th birthday, Adam, my husband, bought me a piano. I had no clue. I think I maybe sent the video to you, Graeme. Maybe you've seen me.
Yeah, I just want to say, Rachel sent me this video. The temptation to just put it on YouTube and get all the money, because it is the most heartwarmingly adorable video ever. Never mind, was it N64 Kid at Christmas? That seeing Rachel's reaction to this piano was it made 2020 okay for me. It was that great. It was wonderful. I don't think I've ever seen anybody so overcome with joy. It was lovely.
I was so shocked, so incredible. Honestly, so shocked. I couldn't believe it.
To be fair, it's a reasonable thing to be shocked at. It's a massive, heavy piano. It's like, ta-da!
I had to hide upstairs.
What a thoughtful present.
I know.
I've been made up to get a piano.
Oh, absolutely. I have no words really for what it's meant to me. I really, really don't. And it's really beautiful. It's from 1910 and it was made in Berlin, and it's made of walnut, and it's just really lovely. And none of that I've managed to capture in this shot, unfortunately.
Who's playing it? Is it you playing it?
Yes, it's me. So I did set, because my cheap shots camera is.
Oh yeah, let's see it.
This one, yes, this one here. So this is my Franca Solida. Ready?
Woo!
That's always the best bit, to be fair. But I have to say, this camera has ended up being one of my favourite cameras, to actually use, just because it's so compact and so cool. When it pops open, it's a bit like when I had my Transformers when I was little. Just sort of, I love that. So this is my Franca Solida that I used to take the shot. I set up the tripod. I set it up on the tripod because I realised that I actually couldn't get hold of my lights. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to have to use the light that's in the room. And this was probably about 10:30 at night, and I had literally 2 frames left on the roll of film, because I'd shot the rest of it over in Wales, if you remember. So that would have been 2 months ago or something. And I was like, there's 2 shots left on it. I'll use those for the Cheap Shots Challenge for the music one. And I was like, I now have a piano. It has something musical I can take a shot of. So
putting aside the fact that you have a violin already.
I do, but that was packed away in its case. So do you know, actually, I did originally, when we set this challenge originally, I was thinking that was what I was going to do. I was going to do a pinhole photo. Well, I was going to make that into like a pinhole. And I was going to take a long exposure of me playing the violin, so it would just be kind of a blur. I was going to sit on the chair, like we've got like a leather wingback chair, and I thought that would be quite cool. So you just sort of like see a blur of movement rather than any actual sort of shapes and stuff. So that was my original idea, a bit like you, John. Like I had the idea and I knew what I wanted to do, but in the end, it didn't end up happening. So I was like, right, I need to make sure I get a shot. I've got the piano. It would be lovely to, you know, at least have that in an image. And so I set it up and was like, okay, it's about 2 second exposure, so I'll just set it to bulb and I'll count 2. So I basically got Adam to press the shutter for me. And so I'd set it all up and everything. But as you can see, I wasn't able to get the focus properly. It's focused on the bookshelf, actually, much further behind where I'd actually thought it was going to focus. And you might notice as well that I seem to have forgotten to close the back window, the counter window. So I've got that, all the lovely backing paper
I like
was
that.
all over it as well. So yeah. I mean, it's got its own charm, and I have to say, it is, isn't it? Yeah, like with this particular camera, that is kind of one of the things about it that I really love. It's very, I can't make any other images look like the ones I shoot on this camera, so I always know that this is the one that I've used, sort of thing. And it's kind of creepy and kind of like atmospheric, and that was kind of that is actually what I was looking for. But yeah, so I realized after I'd taken this one, I'd totally forgotten to shut the back window. So I think this is where it ended up sort of falling apart, because I then took it off and like wound it onto the next row, made sure I'd shut the back, and I clearly hadn't tightened it up properly on the tripod plate. So when I made the second exposure, it was all very, very shaky, so it was no good. But yeah, so I also cropped it to look at it like this, as a sort of like 2x1 sort of thing, which I quite liked, just that little sliver of that with the books behind and things. So yeah, I mean, it's come out better than I thought it would, to be honest, in the end. But it is what it is. Oh, and actually the music, the sheet music on it, I can't actually so everybody knows, I can't actually play the piano yet.
You sent me a video. Rachel says this, she goes, I can't play it, I've only had it a week, I'm just like, and she sends me a video. I'm like, I tried learning piano once. Rachel is already making incredible strides on it. It's like, I can't play it, but here's me slowly playing through Moonlight Sonata. Oh well, you're going slowly, will you? So it's like, yeah,
I know like 3 notes pretty much from that, and I just play them over and over again. That's it.
You're such
I'm not. Honestly,
I'll share the video.
I've not done.
We'll put it at the end of the YouTube video. Yeah.
No. Oh, I could absolutely send you the video. What should we have at the end of our video? Should we have the 2020's N64 kid Rachel, or Rachel? I wouldn't do that, Rachel.
Okay.
Well, this is quite interesting, isn't it? Because you get to see the death stare from Rachel now, don't you? Rather than just silence.
Did I do a death stare?
Yeah.
I'm really bad at a death stare.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was my attempt at the Cheap Shots challenge. And yeah, the music, the sheet music itself, because I don't actually read sheet music for the piano, and I cannot play the piano. I've literally only had it, like I say, 2 weeks. So the music is actually the wrapping paper that Graeme and Sinead put around my birthday presents, which randomly you sent to me, not knowing that I was getting a piano. And I was like, this is piano music. That's insane. So I'd saved it because I was like, oh, this is lovely, old school. And I was like, right, this is going to sit up on the piano. So it looks like I know what I'm doing, even though I have no clue. Set dressing.
Exactly. Okay, so Claire, how about you? How did you find this one?
Well, I like the theme, but I don't know. I did like the theme, but I struggled in the end. Time was going, and I struggled to come up with what to do. And in fact, I think it was from one of the podcast episodes that I stole a bit one of your ideas, Graeme.
Well, I never used them.
That's
so.
a bad idea in itself.
Sorry?
That's a bad idea.
Yeah. So when it came to it, I just because my cheap shot camera is the Diana, so I thought because we have to stick with the Diana, so I actually shot a whole roll, but I wasn't happy with a lot of them. So basically, I took out some of my favorite records and took them into the dunes, and I wanted to do some sort of double exposures, but some of them didn't work out, and some of them I didn't even know why I had a shot I had on the roll. What I did was, if I remember, I think I used slide film, so that it was slide film that was cross-processed in my Diana. So I was quite happy with the saturation and the colours. But you can see I've handheld that, and you can see it's really shaky because you can't really see the writing at all of what that is.
Did you say that you took this in the dunes?
Yeah, and what you can't tell, can you? But it was actually a really bright sunny day because it looked quite dark.
I thought it was
Diana.
like, yeah.
You thought it was what, Rachel?
I kind of thought it was like evening, and you'd lit it with some like artificial light or something.
No, it was like in. So it just goes to show, and and it was handheld. I'd been better off with it on the tripod.
What record is it, Claire?
Sorry?
What record is it?
Oh, the record. Right, this one is Tropic of Cancer, and it's an album called Restless Idols, and that's one of my favourite bands. It's a girl that does the music. She's called Camilla Lobo, and I think she does really good music. So if you want a recommendation from me, listen to this. It's called Restless Idols, Tropic of Cancer.
Is it a candelabra?
Sorry?
The image on the front.
It's a candelabra, and it's kind of some yellow roses, and then her hand, and there's like red nail polish on there. I've ruined it quite a bit because you can see that. You see when I'm looking at if I'm being really critical, obviously it's a bit blurry, but then that's the Diana as well as my handheldness. But I feel like, the composition's a bit wonky, and the dune grass has kind of hindered it rather than helped it, I think. And it's really dark, isn't it? I like the colours of the album cover itself, but I think around it it's really dark.
Yeah, it does feel like it's been sort of lit with artificial light, and it's kind of like glowy, kind of I don't know, like a nightclub or something. It was actually kind of what I thought. For me, it seems similar to something that you'd done indoors, with that lovely shot with the light from the fridge and things.
Yeah,
I was like,
LED,
something like that.
So I don't know if the cross processing did anything and through it. I don't know. So, but that's a good album. Yeah.
What was the other album?
Hey?
What was the other album?
Oh, the other album. Yeah. Now, what I liked about this, again, I've handheld it, so you can see that it's completely blurred. You can't see it's actually, that's Red Velvet. That is Red Velvet, the cover, and then the grass. It's a Beach House. The band is Beach House. It's another of my favourite bands.
Same.
Do you like Beach House as well? Yeah. I love Beach House. Yes, I first saw them play. We digress.
I'll get a
I first saw them play in the Green Man Festival.
and
I've
never been able to go.
It was fantastic. And I remember it was really busy, and just everyone was silent. And I remember thinking, God, these are amazing. And when I got back home, I sort of Googled as much as I could about them. So me and Rachel, big fans of Beach House then. They're from
Absolutely.
Baltimore, if anyone's interested. And this album is called Depression Cherry. And I chose this one because it was red and it was red velvet. I thought it might be interesting to photograph, but I've clearly messed it up. So
I think they
At
look.
least you had some shots, Claire.
yeah,
To me,
and,
they
and-
look
and
like,
I recommend you listen to Beach House as well, because it will take you to another place.
Never
They-
heard of it.
So,
John, go
They
on.
look like projections to me. It's like
Yes.
you've
Yeah.
taken a projector
like
outside and the camera's
Yeah.
kind of exposed because that's so bright compared to everything else
yeah,
at night.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that was shot outside in bright sun, would you?
So I think something's maybe not right with the camera rather than
It's just
than
Diana.
Yeah.
The door. You.
Just no, I know, but I feel like Claire's getting upset about thinking it's her, and clearly not.
Ah,
You know,
you're
something has
being
happened with the
very
camera there.
generous, Rachel. It probably is a bit of me.
I'm sure it's
No,
camera.
I'm prepared to blame Diana entirely for this.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let me make you feel better about this, because you two, you had some issues. Let me
Yes.
tell you a saga, which is nothing but issues. So this is quite nice, because I can show you my cheap shot camera. Can we bring this up, John? It'll be blurred, obviously. But
Oh, that's all right.
we talked about
Oh,
this
it's
quite a
the-
lot.
That doesn't
Lovely.
look very cheap shots, Graeme.
It's a bridge camera. So this is
Maybe
my
in the
Olympus
80s.
IS 1000. The Olympus Fugly. Hang on, let me just.
That looks. How much did that? That doesn't look cheap. shot.
£15, Claire.
Oh, okay.
It's just pleased to see you. I've had this camera now for, I guess, 4 years. Is it 4 years? Have we been doing this for 4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be 4
4
years.
years. Yeah, it
I'm
is.
really sick of this camera. But it is technically a competent camera. Like this, it's a point and shoot camera, but you can take more control. You can focus it. You can do all these things. But it's basically a big bulky point and shoot.
Yeah.
It's cool. I loaded it up with Delta 3200 because we're in, well, it was October when I loaded it up.
Lockdown, autumn. Yeah.
3200.
Yeah, but I thought I'm going to need the speed because the lens on that is not fast. So I needed every bit of speed I could get. And I thought, okay,
Just
and
gonna put some nitrous oxide on that, and it'll do the job.
exactly. And I had
Sorry, for
various
Fast and
ideas.
Furious,
Would you get a lot of grain with that, Graeme?
Hmm?
Would you get a lot of grain with that?
Oh, just wait, Claire. You wait till you see these pictures, but in short, the answer is, oh boy, yes. Turns out, yes. So I had various ideas for things I wanted to do. So I talked about them on the podcast. I'd like to try and have a go at making copies of album covers, and it's like, I didn't have the wherewithal to do it, and various things popped into my head. I mean, the thing is, I like music. I've got records like you've got, Claire. Because I've done something with that. I've got a record player. I've got 3 guitars and an amplifier in this room alone. I've got a knackered saxophone out there. I've got Claire. There's musical shit everywhere. But I couldn't think of any interesting way to take a picture of it. And it got to the 5 days past the 11th hour where I was like, I need to get some pictures, and I just had no time. Work's been busy and it's getting dark here. And so last weekend I was off and I went down to see my boys. Like, okay, I've got to get some pictures this weekend. This is it. We're doing the show this week. And they live down in a little village in North Devon. Said, okay, boys, get your coats on. We're going into the village. We're going to go and get some pictures on the theme of music. They live in a very quiet little village. So
How much did you embarrass your boys this weekend?
Oh, you'll love it. So basically what I did was I've got this. It's now turning into a game, guys. We've got a game. We've got to have a theme tune.
Oh,
God,
God,
the game
you're
is
such a good dad.
you've got it. So you have to try and guess what song or band I'm trying to sum up in these
Okay.
pictures. And then say, you want grain, there's your grain.
Can I see? I can't. I have to put my glasses on again.
Oh.
Star guitar. Is it?
Oh, nailed it! Rachel's nailed it
Really,
straight out.
Rachel?
Straight in there.
Star Guitar by the Chemical Brothers. There you go. So there you go. What else have we got? I did humiliate them.
The Titanic?
Superman?
The Titanic.
No, I'll give you a clue because the pictures. I'll talk about why the picture. Actually, I'll talk about now. So, I talked about taking
Let's
the pictures.
Dance.
They're at a place called Westwood Ho. They're on a beach.
Is the
Homeward
song
Bound.
Let's Dance David Bowie?
No, they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be surfing theoretically.
Surfing USA.
Oh yeah.
That could be, or I would also have accepted the Beach Boys because they're two boys.
Yeah.
So whilst we're looking at this one, it's quite good.
Yeah.
So the camera is competent. The camera's perfectly competent as long as you use it in the right
This
settings.
is all your fault.
Well, I was using, I think it was pretty fresh film. I don't think it's real old stuff. I'm fairly sure. And it's Delta 3200. It's a good film. But here's where the problems started, is in developing. I think that my developer, my HC110, is on its way out. I've been using it now for over a year.
4 years?
No, not quite, but it's well over a year. It's probably might even be 2 years. And the negatives were thin, which when you're already using 3200 film, and there's plenty of people who would say,
Graeme, you know that you were using that when I came to stay with you, and that was last August.
Yeah.
What a developer since last
That,
year.
that developer.
Yeah.
But he'd already had it. He'd already had it, I think, about 6 months by that point.
Yeah, it's getting on. So the negs were thin. They were really thin. So that, I think, is why they're so grainy, and there's no detail in there. There's no detail at all in there. Then I developed them. Went, oh, these are a bit thin, but they don't look quite right. I could see some weird markings. It looked almost a bit like bromide drag, and I don't think these are fixed properly either. So by this point, I'd hung them up to dry. They dried. I started cutting them, and I was looking at them going, this is not fully fixed. So I had to try and get them back onto the reel, including the cut bits, more handling, more of this, then fix them again. And whilst I was fixing them, I put the end that I cut off in fix as well. And I think it's because the fixer was perhaps so cold, or again, maybe it's just been sat for a little bit too long. So refixed them. Washed them again, hung them up to dry again. Then the second time round, they dried really badly with horrible watermarks. So then I was like, oh god! So to get rid of the watermarks, I wiped them down with a microfiber cloth with some Ilfotol. That's the wetting agent, isn't it? I used some Ilfotol. Now the Ilfotol did a really good job of getting rid of the watermarks. Top marks to Ilfotol. The microfiber cloth just shagged up the negatives completely and just put hairs all over them. So I got rid of the watermarks but swapped them for some hairs. So I've got some grainy, underexposed, badly fixed, hairy as hell negatives at the end of this. Anyway, didn't go seamlessly. So anyway, Beach Boys. Next picture, please, John. Okay, right, this is a good one. See if you can guess what song is being captured here.
Who let the dogs out?
Just for people listening, it's a dog on a sofa with one of your sons.
Yeah, and what's my son doing? Can you tell?
Playing
He
with the
looks
dog.
like he's stroking the dog. No.
He's holding a thing and he's threatening to hit the dog.
Hit the dog.
The
female dog.
Canine.
Oh, it's Smack My Bitch Up.
Smack.
Yes, Smack My Bitch Up.
It's Prodigy.
Smack My Bitch Up. Yep, that's what that one is. Next slide, please. This one's a gimme.
Doctor.
Doctor. But did you know? I didn't know. There's like multiple Doctor songs.
No.
So all right. Who sang Doctor for you guys? This is gonna be a real.
I really don't know. I don't know the song.
Rachel.
No.
Okay, so Rachel, that doesn't surprise me.
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you.
Well, yeah, Google.
Doctor.
I mean, that wasn't mentioned in the rules if she couldn't.
I can see them.
Right now?
Those glasses are more powerful than you can imagine. I can see them.
No.
Through space and time.
There's 3 of them in the band, isn't there?
Maybe, but
yeah.
seems like...
Don't tell me, because it will come back. Doctor,
Bay City Rollers?
not Bay City Rollers. No.
Later, 80s. Think 80s.
I was thinking
yeah.
three people.
The Thompson Twins.
That's it. Although it could
Hang
also
on.
have been
3 people. The Thompson Twins.
Yeah, but I think
like Bros.
The
But there's
Thompson
also
Twins.
another song called Doctor Doctor by a band called UFO, which is a much more prog rock. Actually, it's a much cooler song.
UFO.
UFO, band called UFO. Check out Doctor Doctor by UFO. Or the one that I was thinking of, because I'm young and hip, is the 2018 song by Youngblood, which is the Doctor Doctor song I was thinking of.
I've never heard of that. What's the?
Clay, you just aren't down with the kids. You're not street like me, right? So
you're not fooling anyone, Graeme.
Next slide, please, John.
This is quite fun. Okay.
Now,
is it a green door?
It's a sign.
No, it's a sign. It's a sign. But
Sign of
what's
the
it?
Times, Prince.
Yeah, it's a sign because it's the opening hours on the chip shop. Sign of the Times.
Hang on, what was it? I missed it. What was it?
Sign of the Times.
Prince. Oh, right, okay. Sign of the Times. Oh my god, I love that. That is so.
Is there another one? This is good, Graeme.
I think I've got one more. Oh no, two more.
Two more. Okay. Is that door green?
Something doors. Is it the doors?
I will accept the doors. There are also more.
The doors.
But it could. I will also
it a Doors
accept.
Song?
No, you could also have. I would also have accepted "Two Doors Down," which is a song by both Dolly Parton and the Mystery Jets. I was only familiar with the Mystery Jets.
Of course, been Two Doors Down. Oh,
is it called Two Doors Down?
The Dolly Parton song is There's a Dolly Parton song called Two Doors Down.
But is this what your picture's based on?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
I only found out about this evening, but yes. There's a song called The Mystery Jets called Two Doors Down, which is the one that I'm familiar with.
I think
I'm in love with the girl next door. Anyway, next slide, please, John. And last one.
Go west.
Last one.
West End Girls.
Go west, yes! Go west. Life is easy there. So listen. Picture quality abysmal. Entertainment value taking them was quite high because I just got to make my kids prat around outside for half an hour. So, as is always ultimately the case, you just make your own fun with these things, don't you?
Well,
That's
exactly.
the cheap shots. And I'm quite glad in a way that the pictures are just dumb mucking around pictures, because otherwise if I've been trying to get really artistic pictures, I might have been quite frustrated by the fact that they ended up so very knackered. Smack my bitch up. I mean, that really, come on. If that doesn't win this competition, I don't know what does.
Can I say, I think out of your images, Graeme, I really love the one, the actual image of the Doctor Doctor one. I think that's really lovely. Just because obviously he's leaping, like, which of you boys is that? I can't tell.
So Logan is leaping on the right-hand side. My oldest son, Elliot, is attempting to...
He's about to jump, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, he's trying to. Elliot and Gravity have a difficult relationship.
But I really love that. I think that's lovely. And it's really interesting framing. I love that it's got, very distinct text on the floor. The two boys, Logan's got like his white trainers and things. So you can really sort of see, what's going on there. It's got a lot of energy. I love that window with that kind of like really cool
church that's behind them.
Really nice. I think that's a lovely shot.
Why are the two Doctor parking spaces next to a church?
Well, it's probably the surgery, isn't it?
Is it like a community hospital, or is it?
No, it's a church. This is a really small coastal village. I think
do they have a lot of heart attacks in the church? Maybe.
Oh, probably. There's a lot of old people. But I think what this shows though is that even with nothing, like there was nothing musical about that village at all. But if you turn your mind to it, and we'd done a lap round, I walked around the corner and saw that, went, oh, perfect. This winner. This picture is just. So there we go. Now, I was going to suggest that for judging it, we each write down the name of the. But seeing as one of us didn't create a picture, I think that person gets to pick the winner out of the three of us.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to very much dump this responsibility on you, John.
Oh, what? No pressure.
So singers.
Right, I'm going to quickly go through them again. Projection.
There's the only bit of
albums.
colour in this entire competition.
They are good colours. I quite like the
You know what I've realised?
leaving the back open on that camera. It looks like it's expired film. You know, like when the backing
Yeah.
kind of seeps into the emulsion.
That's exactly what it was, John. It happened. Very intentional.
Mm.
These are good fun.
They entertain me at both doing that with you now and taking those pictures. That's having two boys who are prepared to be pushed around like that is wonderful. They are so game for doing stuff like that.
Do you know what? I actually like. This is horrible. Like, 'cause you have to. I can see
You're
you
welcome.
as I'm judging these.
Do you mean because you can see our faces whilst we're here?
Yeah,
Should we
it's
all
really
just do this?
awkward. It's really
You can't see
awkward.
us now.
Can I tell you the one picture that I wasn't able to get because they just
Right, Clare.
because I couldn't really explain to them how I wanted to without making it sound really bad. I was trying to get them to get down on their hands and knees and sniff the white lines on the road, and they just weren't getting it at all. And I didn't want to make it really explicit. So that was the one picture I wasn't able to get.
What did your dad ask you to do today? Well, oh, I don't
It's exciting.
It's
Isn't
John. Yeah, it's such good audio. What
Yeah.
a great audio podcast we're delivering. here.
Incidentally, for any listeners who are just listening and haven't gone to watch this on YouTube, I will put a link to the pictures in the show notes. I'll put a link in the show notes to the Google file where you can go and see all of these pictures. And we'll try and get up on the website soon, but at least in the short term, there'll be a link to the website so you can go and click and see what you think of all of them. Play the fun quiz with your family at home of what pictures this idiot trying to capture.
Yeah, that's very good. So, in general, how has the experience been of trying to get this to work with the video and everything for you guys? Because you did like a test run earlier in the week, didn't you? How did that go?
well, John, without John, this wouldn't be happening. I think
It's
this
not
is 100%
happening,
safe to say. This is
so many
So
people
So
say
even
that
though he
about
didn't
things.
create some photos,
Yeah.
so even though we weren't able to get any shots, the reason that we're here and able to do this is because John's put the time and effort into actually making this. Like,
Thank you,
work.
Rachel.
So it's all
Yeah.
right. You're very welcome. But yeah,
absolutely.
it just wouldn't be happening otherwise. So we wouldn't be going through this.
Yeah, and it's nice to do this in a visual medium, and I think depending on, as I said before, depending on how John finds the entire experience from beginning to end to actually having to get it out, to also whether anybody finds any value in this, we will do it again with stuff because it's quite a visual thing. We're not going to do it every week, obviously. That goes without saying, but maybe when we get stuff coming in the mailbag, maybe we can do some video backing papers in particular, or for other cheap shot stuff. And I think certainly coming up to Christmas.
Yeah, festive stuff happening.
Yeah, because on a purely personal note, it's nice doing this, being able to see you guys. It's nice to,
Absolutely. And this seems to be our world, doesn't it, at the moment? Anyway, because it's not like we can actually have our Christmas meetups and our Sunny 16 things and the photo walks that we would have liked to have done around the festive time and all of those kinds of things. So this is as close as we can get to there still being that connection, I think. Which is good. How are you doing, John?
I think we filled for enough time, John.
I've chosen the winner, and it's the
Okay,
Dr.
drum roll.
photo.
Are you doing a 3-2-1, or is it just single?
3-2.
No.
Yeah, who lost the hardest?
Who lost the most?
Everyone's a winner, but this was my favourite photo. I think it was the Doctor one.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
the
great.
energy in
Rachel,
it.
Graeme.
Energy in it.
Oh, can I just quickly, one, thank you very much. It's an honour and a pleasure to be here. I give the win to my children. They will be delighted. Can I just show off? Can we just, because I didn't show my t-shirt off earlier. Can we do that, John? Can I? Because obviously this is the Cheap Shots challenge. But I want to give a shout out to, hang on, the shitty camera challenge. I'd like to say competitor, but we're all one loving family. I love this T-shirt. I bought this from Adam, who had on the past guest on the show. Adam, he sells his T-shirt. He does great designs for his T-shirts. So if you want a cool cat and camera T-shirt, go and check out Shitty Camera Challenge. Thanks. Thank you very much for that win, John.
Well done, Graeme.
Well done, you.
Well done, your boys. To be fair,
That's the first win I've had in a very, very long time. It feels particularly sweet given how utterly nailed the negs were. I guess the moral of that story is that it's the subject, the content of the pictures wins out over the quality sometimes. So
it's having the fun. It's just trying some stuff out and seeing, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you might occasionally get something that makes you smile, right? And I think that's the reason that we do this. So
and also I think it's nice that feeling of the fun and the manic energy chasing around the village. Kind of hopefully it came through, and that's good. Yeah. I'm pleased.
And
about
you've got a nice memory with your boys, right? Or a crazy memory of going and doing this.
It's a nice memory of seeing what they look like when they're outside, which is a novelty because normally they're never outside. They're lazy little bugs. Especially now, my youngest has got a PlayStation 5, thanks to your other half, Rachel, and he's never leaving the house again. So,
gonna get blamed for that.
Well, that is Cheap Shots done for this round. Thank you so much, everybody.
We made it through.
Yes, well done. We got a couple of bits we want to get to whilst we're in this fantastic visual medium. The first one actually isn't a visual thing at all, but it's a time-sensitive thing. So I just want to quickly mention this. Had an email from our good friend, Mike Crawford, who does the fabulous prints. The subject is Rijeka as online exhibition opening in Germany this Saturday, the 28th, at 6 o'clock UK time or 1900 Central European time. It says, join us online for online exhibition opening on Saturday the 28th with Mike Crawford from London and Professor Katarina Boss from FH Bielefeld, either one of those two, take your pick, live at Italia D. I will put a link in there for people who want to go and check that out. So that sounds really cool. I have no idea what the exhibition is about, but if Mike's involved, I bet it's going to be good. So go and check that out. The other thing that we want to do whilst we've got a mailbag going, because we all got some mail this week. We all got some mail. So should we do the thing that we all got first and then think, yeah? Let's compare. Oh, here we go. We got nuts. Although no nuts in them. Rach, who are these from?
Claire's doing a live unboxing.
Yeah,
Claire
because
is
I
doing
only
an
got mine
unboxing.
today, and I just had a chance to open it, and it's so lovely.
Isn't it?
So, Rachel, who sent us their nutsacks?
So Billy Sanford, obviously from Birmingham, Alabama, actually sent them over, and I was talking to Billy on Sunday at during one of my virtual film development parties, because he's one of my fantastic patrons, and then I think on Monday it appeared through the post, and I thought, well, this is the wrong way round. I'm usually supposed to be sending my patron stuff, and my lovely patrons sending me stuff. So we got these, and I also got lovely sort of illustrated card from a local independent, and like I said before, one of Billy's prints where he'd been trying out doing some split grade, and he's seen, which I really have loved, how I spent my COVID staycation from Billy Sanford. So this has been awesome. Looking through this as well.
Right.
Thank you,
at
Billy.
the end of the.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Yeah, really lovely, and I love the print as well.
Shot.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, really nice.
Yep, really nice. Thank you so much, Billy. That was a real lovely surprise to get to. It's always nice to get mail, and also Billy took the time to write a really lovely letter, and I think he wrote each of us an individual really lovely letter, which is hugely appreciated. Thank you so much. It's a delight to get stuff to the post. And John, you have also received something else to the post this week, haven't you?
Oh yeah, Shane. How do you pronounce his surname? Balkowicz.
Balkowicz, yeah.
Balkowicz very kindly sent through a copy of his book.
Oh, wow.
Oh, fabulous.
Of the
So
Native
you were speaking to
Americans.
Shane, weren't you?
Yeah.
The
It really was lovely chatting. It's such a lovely chap. It was a real treat getting to chat to Shane. And yeah, the book looks lovely. Looks really fantastic.
Can we see a couple of shots from inside,
Images.
John?
Yeah,
John.
let me
Yeah.
just try and open it up. See if I can lift it up.
Oh, wow.
They're absolutely stunning
So
images.
You just put it,
Fabulous,
can you
yeah.
just put it a bit forward, John? Onto
Yeah,
the
2
camera?
seconds.
Embiggen yourself.
I'm
Embiggen
trying-
yourself.
Biggen myself.
So, John, for the benefit of people who again can't see, what is the book?
So he's working on a series
Lovely.
of just hit the
Dong.
donga.
Yeah.
He's working on a series of trying to take photos of, I think it's like 1,000 Native Americans, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is the first book that he's put together of a selection of them. He's not going to publish them all. And they're going into an archive locally to him, and also he's getting some in an archive in Oxford in the UK as well. Some of the plates are coming over here. So yeah, it's
Because he works with Wet Plate Collodion, doesn't he?
Yeah.
he should, if you haven't already, you should listen to the episode, because his studio is just phenomenal that he's created over there, and he invites the Native Americans into it, and he's just slowly getting, like, it's going to take him years to do, I think.
Yeah,
it's a massive
that
project.
sounds just what a fantastic project though, and that book looks incredible. Did you give us the title of the book? Sorry.
Northern Plains Native Americans: A Modern Wet Plate
Fantastic.
Perspective.
Oh, that's great. Oh, hopefully we'll be able to find his work through his site and things. And like you say, obviously you recorded the episode. Do you know what number it was, just so that people could go and have a little listen?
It was 224.
204. Yeah.
Yeah, 224.
224. Yeah. Sorry.
So yeah, not last week, because last week we had the episode. We put out the episode that Jeff Greenstein and Gabe Sachs did for us, which was great, really fun. Really looking forward to more coming from them.
I laughed so much listening to that. It was just hilarious, and the energy and that was just brilliant.
I know.
So yeah,
Jeff's energy, it was there was so much enthusiasm. He literally blew out the volume at the beginning. But no, it's great. So there will be more coming from them on the Sunny 16 Presents channel.
Very much looking forward to that.
Speaking of which, on the Sunny 16 Presents channel, coming up in the next couple of weeks, we have got there's almost so much stuff coming. So we've already mentioned that we're going to put the Holger judging out, which you can or cannot listen to at your leisure. If you've got a couple of hours and you want to listen to some bickering boys and a long suffering lady putting up with it, then you can check that out. We have got the next episode of On Film coming from you, Claire, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's going to be out very soon.
Yep.
And who's that with? Sorry, Claire?
Sorry, Graeme?
Who's it with? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's with Lisa Tobas, who's a artist and photographer from Pittsburgh in America.
She does fabulous work, doesn't she, Lisa?
Yeah, I was going to say, listeners might be familiar with her work. It's often compared to Francesca Woodman, and she also does she does self-portraiture, and like I say, that her self-portraiture is often compared to Francesca Woodman, but she also does sort of documentation as well around the Rust Belt region. And she's recently done a body of work as well, and some of it's gone online, and she's done like a book, her Dwell series, which is kind of her personal story, documentation journey from her diagnosis and her personal battle with cancer a couple of years ago, and her kind of recovery through that. So yeah. So she's talking about, shall I say what film we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so for this episode, we're talking about Roman Polanski's 1968 film, Rosemary's Baby. Yeah, which is a great film. I'm biased, I know, but...
Yes, yeah. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on podcast, but certainly in conversation, the fact that when we were discussing this, one of my favourite conversations with you, of many, Claire, is when you said to me, what do I do if somebody we want to have on says they want to talk about a film that's bad? I'm like, okay.
Luckily, that's not come up yet, has it?
Yeah, no. But this one, seriously, Rosemary, I really recommend it. I mean, I love Roman Polanski's work, and from a photography point of view, I think, first of all, I think he's a brilliant visual storyteller, but I find his use of his unusual use, I think, of camera angles, for me is really interesting. So yeah, have any of you seen the film? Or?
A long time ago.
Not.
Oh right, okay,
Really.
yeah. Or any other films by him?
Oh, what else has he done?
Well,
I think he did Mr. Bean's some big adventure.
no,
I think I've seen that one.
I think his early work. I think before Rosemary's Baby, he did a film called Cul-de-sac and Knife in the Water. Really good films. Repulsion, do you know that one? The Tenant, Rosemary's Baby. He did the piano as well.
Yes. Yeah. That was. I mean, I can't believe I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
Piano. Really, after today.
I love his early work and Rosemary's Baby, along with Repulsion and The Tenant. Oh, and Chinatown as well.
Chinatown. I've just googled it now.
Amazing film. One of my all-time favorite films, Chinatown.
I've seen Big Trouble in Little China. Is that the same?
No, it's not the same.
Great film, but not the same.
Yeah, is it better than that?
Yeah.
No.
Just different.
But
So that's
Rosemary's Baby and The Tenant and Repulsion are like the kind of loosely seen as kind of like apartment trilogy of films.
Right, we're going to lose you, aren't we, Claire? We're going to lose you on the movie if we're not careful.
Yeah, sorry, I'll stop there.
Wind it back in. No, that will be great. That will be out very soon, won't it, Claire? We're going to get that. We've just got a bit of editing to do on it, and that will be out in the next couple of days. So that will be out very soon. We've also got a review from Alex Morrison coming up. He's been doing, I know I mentioned this before, a review on a Steam and Press developer, large format developer. So that will also be going out very soon. So there's going to be quite a lot of stuff coming out in the next week or so on Sunny 16% channel. So do go and check that out. Other than that, I think that's us done, right? I have no idea how long this has lasted.
I was going to say, was this 2.5 hours?
No.
Hopefully not in the edit. But please do, if you've gone on YouTube and watched this, please, don't be horrible to us. This is not what we do. Although, to be honest, if you're going to be horrible, you've already stopped watching, so and gone to be horrible. But if you've enjoyed it, if you've got some value from it, let us know, and we'll do stuff, a limited amount of stuff like this again in the future. Maybe we might try and do something live in the future. We can actually get some, maybe going live. Christmas is coming. We want to do some fun stuff. We've been talking about the Sunnies, and I'm not sure. Well, I don't think we're going to do the Sunnies the way we have done them this year in the past. I don't know. Yeah. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I'm not feeling it in quite the same way. But we want to do some stuff to celebrate the end of the year, to celebrate what's going on, and just generally have a good time. So we'll do some stuff. More news on that as we actually make it up and think of it. But anyway, thank you so much to everybody, as always. Thank you everybody who contributed for the Cheap Shots Challenge. Thank you guys for sitting down and doing this with us this evening. There, Rage, John, thank you as always for being here and being fabulous. And yeah, thank you for listening and for watching, everyone. We will play you out, I guess, John. I mean, you're video master general. We'll on the podcast. We'll play you out.
It will happen.
As always, it'll happen. We'll play you out as always with Rachel's fabulous band, from the album "Promises I Should Have Kept," which is available where, Rachel?
Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, all the places where you might find some music like that.
All the finest places. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to have Rachel just playing us live out. Oh God, we should have done that. This time we should have you on the violin.
Didn't even think I thought you were going to say
play us out with Dr. Doctor.
Doctor. I could. Until next time, listeners, thank you so much and goodbye!
Goodbye!
Bye.
Bye.
Hello everyone, Billy Sanford here with my inaugural submission for the Cheap Shots Challenge, this time the theme being music. Since it is my first submission, I bought a Vivitar 460 Power Zoom for $9.99 and a roll of Fomapan 200 for $3.89, so all in about just shy of 11 pounds for the challenge. The camera does appear to be fully working, except for the switch to turn the flash completely off. Other than that, as the Power Zoom name implies, it has a 38 to 70 millimeter lens built in, a flash, self-timer. It would even let you date stamp the pictures if you wanted to throw a watch battery in there. So overall, I think a fine selection for the challenge. Of course, probably a 200 speed film, not ideal under the circumstances. And using a film I've never used and a camera I've never used also presented a few challenges. I did love the topic of music, a lot of fond memories of taking pictures of friends, bands, and dimly lit clubs as I was getting more serious about photography, so that helped me learn a little bit. But the options for live music these days, of course, somewhat limited. So instead, I opted to go a little experimental. The first image I'm calling my Hackneyed Hockney. It is a collage of 8 pictures I took of my guitar out on my back porch in direct sunlight. I was probably a little bit too close for the minimal focus distance. But I did enjoy the way that the final product ended up. Of course, the image you're seeing it was taken with my phone. But for the images of the guitar itself, I just printed them out on plain paper at 8x10 and assembled them. It was a neat little experiment. Of course, direct sunlight blew out all of the details of the guitar itself, and what you can see is not in sharp focus, not even as sharp as the boards making up the porch in the background, but a good lesson to learn for future challenges. The second image I like to call a random pile of miscellaneous musical paraphernalia. Let's be honest, I just needed to run the last few shots off the roll. But it was fun to throw that together. You're looking at some drumsticks, a drum pad, guitar strings, fretboard polish, a string winder, picks, a pitch pipe, some capos, a string winder, a tuner. All of that is sitting on top of a music book of Jim Croce's greatest hits. But in my defense, Jim Croce's not only an excellent 70s analog musician, but the greatest hits album itself was called Photographs and Memories, so I thought that was fitting. Just for a little fun, at the very bottom, when I thought of music, I thought of all the old mixtapes from my youth, and thought that if I were to put together a Sunny 16 Podcast Greatest Hits Volume 1 mixtape, it would probably look something like what you can't read at the bottom of the image. Starts off with The Evil Stands High by Roja, of course, and then we get into such early hits and deep cuts as No Such Thing as a Free Grandma, No Free Grandmas on My Vivitar, Fuji Epson Mac, the dance mix, of course, Shooting hairy biker fish in a barrel. Ain't no party like a T-Max party. Knowledge is knowing that a pepper is not a camera. Zeiss baby. Hamish, what camera should I buy? And new film, who dis? So it was a really fun challenge. I got to try out a new camera, a film I've never used, and try out a new technique. So fun all around. And of course, that's sort of the point to the challenge, and all for less than 11 pounds. So, you know, as far as the images are concerned, I'd give myself a solid E for effort, but otherwise had a fun time putting it all together. Thank you all for the podcast and the community, and I hope everybody's doing well.
Hi, Ian Wallace here. Once again, I got out my Ilford Sportsman for the Cheap Shots Challenge, and I think I ended up testing it to its limit again. Before I even started, the case was falling apart, so I sat and restitched the leather on the case. So I thought, well, I'm going to end up using this a few times, I think, so I don't want the annoyance of it falling apart on me every time I pick it up. Put some HP5 in the Ilford Sportsman, and then wondered what on earth I was going to do for the music subject. Really, music's a live thing. It's something that happens. It's something that's great to photograph when it's happening in front of you, and there's really no chance of that at the moment. So I thought, well, I'm going to be going around the house again. So I ended up working a number of ideas, some of which worked and some of which didn't. I spent a lot of time in the dark with a bicycle torch painting things with light, and a lot of my exposures ended up between, well, I think the longest one was 4 minutes, and nearly everything was in a large number of seconds, or at least a minute or 2 minutes. Anyway, the 3 that I've picked out to send in are all pictures of my gramophone, or my gramophone records. And I think the one that I like the effect of best was an exposure of at least a minute while the gramophone record played, and you can see the movement of the head on the disc. So it's quite nice from that effect. So the arm on the record is all blurred, but the gramophone round it's all sharp. The camera was on a tripod, and there we go. So that's my Cheap Shot challenge for music. You can find me at Ian_on_a_hill road on Instagram or Twitter.